Hi, my name is Rod Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstars. Now, this is where we interview people that are absolutely freaking crushing it in this business. And this is where we show you guys the inside scoop into how multifamily investors are creating incredible success in their businesses and in their lives. And as always, we've got our co-host, who's the director of my massive action team for the Warrior Group, Mark Nagy. Mark, what's up, brother?
Rod, not too much. I'm always doing good, but this is my favorite part of the week, man. We always get to meet some good people that are out there killing it and always super inspirational. So really excited for today.
Awesome. Well, we've got George O'Brien on the call today with us, and George and his wife Angela started investing back in 2016. They came to my Baltimore boot camp in, 2019, I think? Yeah, 2019. And fall of 2019. And since then, they've bought 52 units. They've got an LOI out on another 51 units. And they're going to be, because of their cash flow from their assets, they're going to be moving to St. Augustine Beach, which is absolutely gorgeous. They've got a beautiful fort there. Anyway, I'm rambling. George, welcome, brother.
Thanks, God. Appreciate it.
You bet. So take a minute and just tell the listeners how you got started, because you actually got started before you joined our Warrior Group. But just talk about how the progression happened, to where you are today, why you love this absolute business that we love.
Back in 05, my first job out of college, and how I was raised, where you buy a house and you take on that, you pay it down, and and you live happily ever after. Well, we did that and kind of had some friends move in with me. It was a single family, and I thought, well, this is great. I'm renting out rooms and paying my mortgage plus a little bit of beer money. It was great. And, fast forward about 8 years, we had two single family homes. We moved across the state from my job at the YMCA, and we kept those as rentals. And we thought, man, this is great. But it's still, they don't cash flow great single families. And we got to the point where, as a family, we wanted to travel. We wanted to do things. And, with 4 kids and 2 W-2 jobs, I got tired of focusing on the pennies and the expenses and really wanted to figure out how to generate more income. And I loved real estate. I seen there was opportunities here in Western Pennsylvania. We're just outside of Pittsburgh. So I started doing some research, came across Rod's podcast, listened to the very first one, and I still listen to this day. And he's still learning and inspiring me and our family. So that's kind of how we pulled a line of credit out to buy our first multifamily in the spring of 2016. And we did really well with that. And the banks fell in love with us. And we got to the point where we had, over 150 properties under our ownership. And now I said, listen, I need to get to the point where I'm scaling, because we averaged around 4 units per closing.
Fourplexes, right? Fourplexes and duplexes.
Yeah, it was like, a duplex here, a triplex there, a 5 unit, a 16 unit. But it's so much work to take down a property. And we thought, if I can average 50 units a closing, that's how truly we can create generational wealth for our family.
So that's when you came to my boot camp, and the rest is history. And now you've got that 50 unit, 50 plus, 52? 52 unit. You've got another LOI out on another 51 unit. Mark, go ahead. You fire away now.
Yeah, well, you were talking about that earlier, George, about, what would you have done differently if you could go back in time and kind of change that from where you started to where you're at today?
Yeah, again, I started small, and we were doing it all ourselves. And, you formed a couple partnerships with a couple family members and what have you. But, and that was great. And we loved it. And we still do have an appetite for some of those smaller multis. But I really wish I would have, taken the initiative a little bit earlier to invest in myself and coming to one of Rod's boot camps. I was just growing so fast. I didn't slow down the focus on true development. And we were just kind of operating day by day instead of more strategically. But it worked, but I could be in a much bigger, better situation now with a lot more units if I would have, come see Rod or his team in 17 or 18. So,
you were working in the business. You were working in the business instead of, you know, focusing on the business, and you were managing yourself as well, right?
Yes, that's correct. We started our own property management company.
Right.
We manage 257 units in addition to, so we do some third party and then also some construction and what have you. Yeah.
Right. Which is I hate to say it, almost a thankless job. It's you can really burn out in especially managing the small assets like that, because there's so much to it. It's not like third-party property management in larger properties where, you know, they hire a regional to manage your asset and they've got the infrastructure to handle the marketing and so on and so forth, the accounting. You know, when you've got a small management, because I've had a small management company like yours literally my entire life. I have one. I still have it right now, and and I did third party management as well. And, you know, the owners don't call you to tell you how awesome you are. They call you to bitch. The tenants don't call you to tell you how awesome you are. They call you to bitch. And so anyway, it's easy to burn out. But I think you had a question around property management you were going to ask him. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, that's what I want to know about. I mean, they always say the 3 T's, right? The tenants, the toilets, and the termites. That's what you always got to deal with. But tell us about some of those moments, George, like some of the dirty moments, the hard moments in property management that a lot of people don't think about.
No, I mean, there's just countless number of stories. You know, this year we had a ton of sewer line issues. You know, the people, you know, the toilet paper shortages, and everybody's flushing everything other than what they're supposed to be down the line. So that created a lot of problems for us. We get a lot of where people, you know, move in together and then they split up, and then it's a whole debacle of like, who's going to stay in the lease? Who paid this security deposit? So we see a lot of that. And there are some horror stories, but there's also, you know, just like anytime you work with people, and that's why I always like to say to our team is one of the best things about property management is you get to work with people and you get to make a difference in people's lives. They get here and they can't find a good place. They get relocated and they're staying at a hotel, and now we can find them a nice place. But the worst thing about property management is you got to work with people. So you get it both ways.
Yeah, for sure. Now, but you know, the good thing about starting the way you did is you fully understand the business. So, I mean, you could buy an asset in another state, hire a third-party property management company if you wanted, and you'd be all over there, you know what, knowing, you know, exactly what's going on, and there's nobody going to get over on you because you've done it. And so it's a great framework to build on to do larger. Now, are you just buying in your backyard right now? Is that where you've bought so far?
Yeah, most of our assets are here in Western Pennsylvania. You know, the ratios and the margins we're getting here just can't get them anywhere else. It's not as sexy as some of the other hot markets because of the population growth and job growth. But there's some real, you know, but again, like you've always said, Rod, you had to have boots on the street. And I was the boots. I understood. I started seeing the changes to the businesses and the people that were truly wanting to move to this area. So we were able to get in when we were buying places for $30,000 a door and get $800 rents.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's unheard of. Yeah.
Now there's $60,000 a door and still $800.
Yeah, but it's still unheard of, honestly, anywhere else. And now, are your assets typically older? Are you in like urban Pittsburgh, places like that where they're older assets? Yeah. Like brick, you know, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, the old philosophy is, you know, invest where it makes sense and live where you want. And that's why we, chose to relocate our family and raise our family down in St. Augustine Beach area.
Yeah.
But still have all these assets up here. And we wanted to be kind of close to Jacksonville and Orlando because, as you know, they were great markets. And that way I can get down there and learn about those areas and work with other warriors in the Florida markets and try to find one of those assets, you know, because as you know, Rod, you know, there's going to be some changes coming here, and there's opportunities for people that overpay for some of their assets. So
yeah,
we're hoarding cash like the squirrels are hoarding their nuts right now. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same here. You know, that's a fantastic market, and you know, it's funny. You just triggered something in my head. I'm going to do. and I don't know if this comes out before or after this, but we're going to have our 500th episode coming, and I'm going to do a big panel of titans, and Al Barris is one of them. He owns so many units between Orlando and like Tampa, for example, on that I-4 corridor. It's just such an incredible opportunity. Now, of course, Orlando is suffering right now because of the impact of COVID on Disney, but that's opportunity, right? I mean, that's because it's coming. Disney's not going anywhere. It's coming back for sure. Go ahead, Mark.
Love it. So in your opinion, George, like what, obviously you have the management side experience as well. What's kind of the minimum unit that you're shooting for now? Minimum number of doors? Because I hear all kinds of different things from different people, whether it's, some people start small, some people say 70, some people say 150, right? Where does it make sense for you?
I don't have a number per se. I have a few properties right now under contract that are 3 units, but we also have the 51 unit under contract. So it's more, I'd like to be in that smaller, that 20 to 50 unit. I think there's a sweet spot there, especially here in this market that we're at. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm close friends with a couple of other warriors that they're looking for properties in Tennessee and Georgia, and they're 150 units. And I'll come in as the LP side and I'll learn from that because I've never been part of a syndication, but
Yeah, you do a joint venture on that 52 you got?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. And I mean, those of you listening, the joint venture is when the partners are all active. A syndication is when you take money from someone and they're not active at all. Then you have to, hire an SEC attorney to do that.
Yes. Mark, to clarify that, not to cut you off, Rob, but
no, that's right.
What we started doing is we started like getting on podcasts like this and just telling our story, and it's really inspired a lot of other folks. We have a new mother that as a realtor down in Atlanta, and she's looking to invest, and we just sold her one of our very first duplex here in the area. We're taking that income and we're rolling into a 1031 exchange and buying a couple more assets at the end of this month. So we're starting to do that because, again, some people don't want to jump right into a syndication, especially if they only have $50,000 to $60,000. They want to own something, but they want to have third-party management. So we've sold that individual one of our places, and we found another
kind of like a turnkey model.
Yeah,
as it were, for multi.
Yep, mm-hmm. And then they have management in place, and we make a couple bucks off the acquisition and the finder's fee, and then we roll that into some of our larger assets.
No, it's a good model. That's a good model. I mean, of course, it's huge in the single family space, and I'm kind of against it there, but I'm not in the multifamily space. So, if you were one of our listeners, George, and you hadn't started yet, you listen to the podcast, what suggestions would you have for someone like that hasn't taken action yet? They know this is an incredible opportunity, and guys, with what's coming, I think with the economy, I think there's going to be more opportunity. But what would you say to those people as to how to get rocking?
Start, just get to one of your boot camps, Rod, and virtual now, and hopefully, soon we'll be able to get in person. I met so many amazing people in Baltimore. I bet you 3 times a week I'm talking to people I met at your boot camp.
Right.
And it's been a game changer. I consider a lot of them my friends. We're in deals with a lot of them. They're folks that, that I had a beer with, or, just walked to the, into your conference with, they're moving to Florida. I mean, you guys just interviewed Jeff, and him and I are great friends, and I'm going to see him on Monday. We're looking at that 51 unit together. And
oh, fantastic.
He went and looked at our place in St. Augustine when he was down there looking at his place in Orlando. It's about relationships. And Rod, that's one of the things you're always about. It's not about, you have amazing content and experiences and experts that you allow us to get in front of, but your vision for goal setting and mindset is just wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a game changer. There's a lot of people out there that do one or the other, but not many people that I've found that do both. And I think
it's critical. And some people are like, the analytical people that come to sometimes at first they're like, oh, come on, get on with the freaking real estate content. But they don't realize that 80 to 90% of it is you actually have to have clarity on what you want. and why you want it. Otherwise, you're never going to go after it. You're never going to push through fear, limiting beliefs to take action. And I appreciate the plug. But I'm going to, and we're doing them live stream now, of course, and we do breakouts to get as close as we can to that networking environment. People rave about it. But by the way, guys, if you're interested in attending one of my boot camps, just text the word multifamily to 41411, and we'll send you the link to check it out. And it's pretty amazing what we do. And I don't sell anything at those events, guys, at the live stream events. I don't sell a thing, and you can get in sometimes for as little as $147 for 18 hours of training. So it's kind of a duh, So again, it's multifamily to 41411. So go ahead, Mark. I'm kind of stealing the show here.
Well, on that topic, no, that's really, really good. Just because I talk with people all the time that are looking for help in a team like that. And you're so right. I a lot of times I'll ask a question. Hey, how long have you been listening to Rod? Or how long have you been educating yourself in this space? And people will say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years plus sometimes. And I ask them, hey, how much multifamily or how much real estate have you done? You want to know what the most common answer I get is? Zero deals, right? Because Rod just touched on it, right? People are so focused on that information, right? That they don't think about why they're doing it. What is their mindset? How can they just start? How can they take action?
So, George, what do you feel like have been the most valuable lessons for you in this business? How have you grown and what have you learned, both positive and negative? So if you can give some examples of some of the experiences you've had and hopefully demystify some of this for some of the listeners.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's what I've learned. I didn't know much other than just listening to some of your podcasts, Rod, I was pretty handy. So that's how I got in, but, it's not rocket science here. You're providing, you have an asset, people live in it, they pay you rent, and it's yours. And it's, you just got to do it. You got to educate yourself to make sure you make an informed decision. Do you know what are you trying to do? Are you trying to, have a, small portfolio that you own exclusively, or do you want something a little bit bigger where you own a percentage of an asset and you feel more comfortable in syndication? So I think you really need to educate yourself there. I really got into the weeds with, running the operations myself. And, I wish looking back, maybe I would have, done more of the larger assets earlier on. But it's also really good information for me. And that's a piece of our business model now that we can still help other folks and let them, get involved in the smaller multifamily assets.
Sure.
And it's really what I've learned is it's about the teamwork. You can't do it yourself.
No, you absolutely can't. Now, you talked about syndication, but it's even joint ventures. We just pull 2 or 3 people together to take down a larger deal. I mean, you bought a 50 unit that way. How many partners are in that deal? 3. Yeah. So there's a lot of money out there, guys. Okay. And so you can do these things. You can find one super high net worth individual and take down assets. I've got one of my warriors right now. I think he's closing on, you guys know Sam. I think he's closing on, I don't know, hundreds of units between now and the end of the year, and the equity's coming from one person. So, I mean, that's out there, guys.
Owner financing thing is just an amazing thing because, there's only so much cash that you have, that available to you.
Right.
You need 20 to 25%, sometimes 30, and it's tough to come by if you're just doing it yourself. But when coming to your event, Rod, it was amazing. Started learning about owner financing. You provided examples to that. And the coaching program. Yeah, you hooked me up with an awesome coach, Rod. Has been fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. So what's next, man? So you're going to syndicate? Are you going to pull money in? You're going to, is that the plan? Go after some larger deals? You're going to come down to maybe hit some of the stuff, like I said, in that I-4 corridor between, Jacksonville and where really it's like Orlando, that whole area. Is that the plan?
Yeah, the plan is just, look for opportunities, continue to network like we're doing right now and tell our story. And if there's opportunities that, for larger assets, we're going to jump on them. And if there's not, we'll continue to maintain and, like we have the last 4 years. Nice.
Go ahead, Mark.
So you're thinking that you do want to go bigger if the opportunity's there. I know some people, they kind of like sticking with that joint venture, smaller model. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Mark, good question. We're open to anything. whether it's to continue the route we are with some smaller, multifamilies, or the big syndication, is really if opportunities present themselves and I like the deal. We vet it, with the Warrior Group. That's a huge resource that they always constantly are helping people look at the deals. And I like the culture of the group and the people that we're going to be working with, which is really, really important. And we'll go out there anything as long as it makes sense.
No, I love it. There's a ton of Warriors down in the Central Florida market, Orlando, Tampa hitters. I mean, real hitters down there that are killing it. So
there was just a Zoom meeting last night with everybody in that market.
Yeah. That was Matt's
awesome.
thing where he was pulling people together to network. Yeah. Yep. See, that's the beautiful thing. And we never planned any of this, but inside our Warrior Group, we've got all these subgroups where people have, accountability group. They have an underwriting group. And last night was a networking group where Warriors got together and network because we took a look at the last boot camp. We showed how many deals, some of the deals, it wasn't even all of them, that had been done like in the last 45 days. And it was crazy for me that I didn't even realize how many, almost all of them were done between Warriors. People pulling and putting in money in others' deals, ton of money in the group. I mean, it's just an incredible ecosystem. And like you said, I don't allow narcissists or people that are all about themselves in the group. And so it's people that want to help each other. And that's just such an incredible dynamic. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think there's a couple that you actually missed too in there that I saw recently in the past 45 days. I think the Warriors have done anywhere between 700 and 800 doors now. I think I saw a couple more that came through in the past couple of days.
Right.
Just tons of deals being done there. And really quickly, if people do want to be a part of a team like that, how can they find out about us, Rod?
What we do is we have an application process. It's real easy, but you text the word CRUSH to 41411 and we'll set up a call and you can see if we're a fit. And then of course we see if you're a fit I'm going to tell you, you'll get so much value just from getting on the call. You're going to leave the call a better person, whether, you join the Warrior Group or not. So I highly encourage you to check it out. So that's it. So George, talk about a time when maybe you got your butt kicked a little bit. Talk about a seminar. You know how I call them seminars. I've had some real big ones, as you know. But talk about a seminar and maybe what you learned and how you grew from it.
Yeah, a lot of the properties out here that we've done, we follow the BRRRR Method, and I didn't even know what that was until I learned it from you.
Right.
You're just doing it, but yeah, we took down a deal here recently. It's a development project where it was an old office building. We converted into into multifamilies, and
nice.
Even though I have a construction background and we've renovated a ton of duplexes and apartment buildings out here, never something to that extent. So we bit off a little bit more we can chew. We're trying to be a little bit aggressive with the completion date, which it's still an asset that we have. I have it with another Warrior. It's just it's a lot of work, and you need to make sure you can't be part-time. GC. You have to have somebody that knows what they're doing 24/7. That's their job. They need to make sure, and you hold them accountable to meet the timelines and the budgets and those sorts of things. But that was one thing that bit off a little bit more than I could chew there, especially with everything else we have going on. So it's best sometimes to hire.
Did you get a project manager to help bring it home?
Correct.
Oh yeah, good. That's what you need. Yeah. Otherwise you're killing yourself. Okay. Well, that's great. How many units is it going to be?
A 24 mixed use.
Wow. Fantastic. So you have some retail on the ground floor and you'll have some nice units above it. Love it.
A parking garage underneath and
beautiful.
Parking across the street. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
Nice. Well, that'll be
Let me ask you that. You said you bit off more than you can chew. Do you think it's going to be worth it in the end?
Oh, my heavens, yes. We bought it for $150,000. The construction is about $800, and once it's fully occupied, we're looking.
You'll have brand new units at $50,000 a pop.
What's that?
You'll have brand new units at $50,000 a pop. It's basically, I just did the math in my head, and I'm not good at math, but I got that one. Love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, brother. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And we'll get 900 to 1,000 in rents.
Oh, that's going to be a home run squared. Love it, man. So what are some of the biggest lessons, and maybe you've touched on these already, so forgive me, but what are some of the biggest lessons that you feel like you've learned along the way here?
I think early on it was, just listening to your podcasts and some of your mindset things of that anything's possible if you just, you will it and you focus and you're strategic about, what the end goal is, and a little bit when I was an athlete, you kind of learn that too. But, and then everything on the way, the 1031 exchanges and, all the things that you've taught as far as the, insurances and the occupancy costs. And those allowed us to streamline our business and be much more profitable. And then these banks see how well things are going from a P&L standpoint, and they just are eager to give. And the relationships with these local banks, sending them a Christmas card, Rod, like
Oh yeah.
I write them hand notes and send it to them. Sometimes I send them the pictures of our family once we get back from the beach, and it goes a long way. It really does. You humanize yourself a little bit. It's much more of a relationship than a transactional relationship.
Yeah, and what he's talking about, guys, is banks can make you a lot of money, and especially with what potentially is coming, where they're going to be taking some real estate back. If you listen to my podcast, some of the guys that started in 09 and 10, got bank financing on bank-owned properties, and they were screaming deals at 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar. But more importantly, they will bend over backwards to provide you financing if you've built a relationship. And I'm not talking about the big national banks. I'm talking about a local or regional bank. And you go in there, you set up a bank account, you start a deposit relationship, because they're very relationship driven. And like George just said, you make it personal. You send them the cards, or you take them to lunch, you get to know them, and you add value and let them see your integrity and your passion. And it's incredible. I mean, I've got a warrior that got approved for a $1.3 million loan, 100% financed, because he had a relationship with a bank. I remember I interviewed some kid early on in my podcast that had bought $1 million property with bank financing for $5,000 down. And the bank allowed the seller to carry a second. And I mean, it's because of the relationship he had with the bank. So these bank relationships can be incredibly lucrative. So let me ask you. A lot of good nuggets here. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you think that there's a certain type of person that's better suited for this business, or how would you answer that question, George? I want to get your opinion on that.
I don't think so. I mean, people just have to, whether you're introverted or extroverted, like some of the partnerships that I have, I'm not as, I understand numbers. I love numbers. I can tell you what my budget was back in my old sport director days. I could know what those were. But there's a lot of people out there that are a lot smarter than I am and much more analytical. But I'm very outgoing, and I'm great with people, and so you just got to form partnerships there. So really anybody can do it. You just have to make sure you're educated, and you have to be comfortable. Sometimes you have to get uncomfortable in this business, because if everybody stays comfortable, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah, I love to tell you the comfort zone's a warm place and nothing freaking grows there. Right. But the reason I asked that question is I wanted to spark this conversation, because those of you listening, maybe your skill set or your strength. I ask everyone, what's your superpower? Are you more analytical? Are you more process driven? Analytical, you could be the underwriting arm of a team in this multifamily space. Process driven, you could be the project management, the asset management after you buy the asset, which is a big job, probably the biggest job, taking care of it after you buy it. If you're the people person, maybe you're the one building relationships with brokers to get deals coming across your desk, or you're the one building relationships with potential investors to get money for your deals. And if you've got a decent net worth and you want to be a little less active, maybe you bring your balance sheet to the deal. You bring your net worth and your liquidity, and you put that in for a slice of the deal. And so there's just a lot of ways you can get into this business. But the key is that you play to your strengths, that you don't kill yourself trying to build your weaknesses. But would you agree with me, George?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Did you have another question?
I've become a better husband and a better father just learning about real estate, because I don't know everything about it, and the only way to get better at it is to either entrench yourself and to learn and make yourself better. And that's, again, allowed me to be much better of a husband and a father, because there's things that I'm not great at, and That's why I married my lovely wife, because it's a team.
I was wondering where you were going with that. You
Yeah.
lost me. Okay. It's because your wife helps you in the business in areas that you're not as strong as well. Okay.
Yep.
Love it.
Well, last one I'll hit here, and really quickly, just to touch on a point that you said, George. I mean, you said you got to step outside of your comfort zone sometimes. I'd say most of the time you got to step outside of your comfort zone in this business. It happens more often than people might think, or they're prepared for. But the last thing I have for you on that topic right now, obviously, COVID's going on. For people that are listening, the election is hanging right now. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's focusing on the wrong things, right? Focusing on the fear, et cetera, whether it is the election or COVID, et cetera. What are you doing personally, George, to overcome all the fear in the world right now and just stay focused on your goals? What are you personally doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stressors right now in the world. And, unfortunately for my family, I've put a lot on that on us as well, because we sold our house, our dream home, and we sold it because we knew we could get a lot more resources, a lot more capital from selling it during peak season. We moved into one of our duplexes. It's a top and bottom, and we opened up the hallway, and now we have essentially 2 floors. And we knew we needed to do that in order to buy this place in Florida. So we're living in our rental for another week. I'm leaving a week from Saturday. My wife's flying down with the kids. So I'm putting enough stress on us, 10 times. But again, it's the vision. It's like Rod talks about visualization. Our goal was always to raise our children at the beach. Mm-hmm. And I was going to do anything I could to get us to that point. And it's not ideal to pack up and then unpack and then pack up again. But we did it. We've lived that out of some box. Some of our stuff is still in boxes. But we did it because we knew the end game was there. And yes, some days are stressful. The kids will come home. They have homework. They don't want to do their homework. They're remote. They're at school. So it's crazy. But you just got to take one day at a time.
They'll be happy with the end result. They'll be happy with the end result, brother. I can promise you.
Better be.
Well, yeah, they better be, right. But, and sometimes you take a step backwards so you can take 5 steps forward. I mean, I remember when I had 500 doors, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment that had free rent because I had this business that put these big rooftop balloons on the apartment complex once a month for my free rent. And I was like, you know what? I sucked it up so I could be more aggressive and more proactive and buy more assets faster. And you're doing the same thing. And this now you're lifestyle geared, but it's the same dynamic. But listen, thanks for being on the show, brother. You've added a ton of value today. Mark, it's good to see you, my friend. And it's
great having you, George.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon, George, and we'll see you on a coaching call soon. Okay. All right, guys, take care.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step, and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411. That's mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411.